Hello, class. I'm Michael Moulton. This is week 8. This is our final class or final assignment for this class. Whoopee. However, I want to touch on a subject tonight that I know that kind of gets to a lot of people. Very touchy subject. Um, Homosexuals belonging to the military. Um, I'm not opposed to it. However, um, just to begin, I would like to say that throughout military history, there has been an inconsistency in the policies and procedures on how we operate. Um, I'm not opposed to it as I mean, being in the military, you run across all types of people from different walks of life. So I don't ever want to limit myself to say, hey, this person is this way, so I have to separate and segregate them because that's not my place in the world. And I work in a customer service based job, so I deal with a plethora of people that I deal with on a daily basis. So, like I was stating before, throughout our military history, there's been a lot of inconsistency with policies and procedures on homosexuals in the military. Um, for instance, I mean, there was one time, don't ask, don't tell, there was a ban on it, and during the Clinton presidency, they were trying to lift that ban at a point, but it was met with resistance as well. However, Obama came along later on around 2010, where he lifted the ban. Also, something new, and this will go a little bit off the subject, but it kind of ties back into the same. It's transgenders being allowed in the military. Me personally, I would think that in a sense that it really doesn't matter because I can take it back as far as the Bible. So the Bible, I understand, like I said, I don't want to offend anyone, but I mean, this was talked about years ago, and the Bible has been around for many centuries. So it's not something new to the world. It's just that it is not socially accepted in a lot of places. Still, even to this day, there's still the LBGTQ, whatever it is, a movement to make sure that hey, every voice is heard. Our U.S. Constitution, we are created equal. So we have to look back at that regardless. So when we say we are all created equal, what does this say to you? We can't always take and make things just for us because we disagree, because there's only one or two people's personal views. However, we have to look at it from all angles. I mean, because we've had high-ranking officials, military officers, all the way back to the Revolutionary War, all the way through Civil War. I mean, this has been for years, so it's nothing that is new. As we would say, there's nothing new under the sun. Which, if you go back and look at history, you can see that. A couple of books that I had kind of ran across on this subject is Conduct of Unbecoming. It talks about gays and lesbians in the U.S. military, written by Randall Schultz, published in 1993, where he traces the participation of gay and lesbian from the Revolutionary War to the 20th century. So he kind of looks at it and lays out, okay, this is just not something that just began today. We're acting like this sometimes is a something new. But I mean, we generally know, and we also see that today it's kind of like, hey, it's like exists. There's a lot of things, and a lot of people had to hide for very long periods of time, even when they had the ban on gays and lesbians, which I think is around about 12,000 out of 800 that they considered mission critical. However, based on the new policy that was put in place back around 1993, I want to say, um, and or early on, people were getting kicked out of the military for that same reason. So sometimes we ask, okay, well, what type of restitution based on now the policies? But we got to also understand that in the military, policies and procedures, regulations, all that stuff, it changes over time. So basically, we must uphold the standards. The standards are the standards at the time they are set. And that's what we have to kind of understand sometimes. Even though we may not like it, it's a different entity when you're dealing with the military. And it's whatever the president states and says at the time he blesses off and approves, then we have to roll with it. Now, we could probably go along the lines of whether it's unethical or immoral, and but that's based on a few opinions or a few views. Whereas you have a massive amount of people that will make a decision on this. Um, we kind of fall into a government. I mean, we have three different branches: legislative, judicial, and executive. So they are all put there for checks and balances. This is just not a single person's decision that is made at the end of the day. Um, Speaking to the don't ask, don't tell, um, there's another one that talks, another book that I kind of went across, and it's called Unfriendly Fire. It talks about how the gays ban undermine the military and weakens America. Written by Nathaniel Frank around March 2009. And it's such political views that he's discussed how this is rooted in denial, deception, and repression. So there's just a few. I've also ran across a website that talks about and kind of gives the history and traces back throughout the time period, kind of coupled with the conduct of unbecoming. It goes back and kind of traces back to Vietnam, the Korean Wars. It's called The Balance in Policies Concerning Homosexuals in the U.S. Military is the title. So um, I don't know. I mean, I just see it from one point of view. And like I said, I've been around the military, and I've had friends that are homosexuals. I don't treat anyone any different because that's not who I am. Like I said, I work in a customer service type of environment, so I see all types of walks of life. I have people that come in to make updates to their records, all types of stuff throughout the military, and sometimes you also have to be kind of like very cognizant of what you say, how you say it, because it could be offensive. You know, some people still don't want their business put out openly. I mean, I have males that come in and terminology, your husband. It is preferably to say your spouse, and I respect that. And that was something that I learned over the times. And but I've always said spouse because I kind of understand and respect people's privacy. You are entitled to your privacy. So, um, with that said, I mean, I see no issues with people that are homosexual serving in the military because, like I stated, it is something that is it's there. It's not something that just got started yesterday or 10 years ago or even 100 years ago for that matter. I mean, the Belgium army allows them to openly serve in the armed forces. So I mean, it is worldwide, international. It's just not something that just started. As I reiterate that, treat people how you want to be treated. That's the bottom line. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to stick together as a people. Um, we see where the country right now is a bit shaky, of course, with the new presidency and the staff. There's a lot of questionable things that happen. But at the end of the day, I am a military member who has stood there, made the oath to defend the U.S. Constitution. So against foreign and domestic, and that is where I'm at. I mean, we always are different, and we never know what this president may come up with. He may turn the tables and switch it back. Hey, we're gonna ban. We never know because at the end of the day, we're all human. People make their own choices, make their own decisions based on how they feel. Um, do we necessarily agree with the people that are in power? Not necessarily, but we kind of have to not so much embrace it, but is accept it. And yes, that's why you still have a voice. You're more than welcome to petition, do whatever you like against it. And who knows? 100,000 people may make a difference. I would say one person can make a difference. It takes one person to start, but it takes many more voices to be heard, loud and thunderous. So, with that said, I welcome everyone. And whether you're homosexual, lesbian, whatever the case may be, whatever category you put yourself in, um, this is where I'm at, and those are my views. And thank you, class, for having me.